Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis Bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How'd you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to hide certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids feel like they have to.
As part of the Chapters Network, Benson brings a weekly show aired worldwide on YouTube and Facebook, and her message is creating positive change. That's Wednesday at 6 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. I am Danni Benson, host of I'm Proud of You Sis. Please like, share, and follow. I picked the perfect topic today. I have Sellu here, CEO of her company called Her Faith. And I got to tell you what happened to me yesterday, because if I didn't have the faith that I have, I don't even know where would I be today. But the reason this is like God has a sense of humor is because like yesterday, as a mom, you're like, I had an eye appointment with my children and they wanted to bring the dog with them. And I'm like, okay, bring the dog. And then what happened was after the eye appointment, I get in my car and I start the car. So I'm starting the car and we're driving home. We're like 20 minutes from home. And all of a sudden I see the battery light come on. And I'm like, oh my God, it's pouring, raining outside. And I'm like, God, please get us home. Please get us home. I have 2 babies who are 8 in a car. I have the puppy who doesn't even have his leash on. I don't have any umbrellas in the car. It's storming and raining. And all I could do is just praying. I'm like, God, please, I have my babies in the car. Just get us home. Just get us home. Just get us home. So we're driving. All of a sudden, the radio stops. And I'm like, oh my God, we are halfway there. And all I keep doing is just praying. Just please get me home or as close as home as possible, because now I'm going to end up maybe having to walk with the kids, with the dog, because my cell phone is dead. So I don't even know if I can't even call anyone. And better yet, I don't even know anyone's numbers by heart. I don't know if that ever happened to you before, but with all the technology now, I have to start learning people's numbers by heart again. But let me tell you how faith works. And I know the Heavenly Father heard my prayers. We turned down my block and all of a sudden the car stops. That means we were driving for 20 minutes. We were more than 20 miles away. And because of my faith, and I just prayed hard, and I am the believer of manifestation. I am the believer of if you think and you pray and you meditate, all those things that get you calm and collective and get you focused to where the direction you want to go. It happens. It might not happen right away. It might not happen the way you want it. Look, I said to myself, I could have been upset because I could have said, you know what, God, you didn't get me right in front of my house. I still have to walk in the rain with 2 8-year-olds, with no umbrella, with a puppy in my hand because there's no leash. But instead, I looked up in the sky and I said, you know what? Thank you. I am grateful. You got me here as close as you possibly can. And now me and the babies are going to have to walk up this hill, down this hill to come to our house. But I had no complaints because it could have been worse. So I just want to know, have you ever been in that situation where you felt like you were hopeless? You had no one to call, no one to turn to. And the only person you had was to look up in the sky, or the connection you have with your spirit, however people call it, your God. I know it's April right now, so I know it's Ramadan, I know Passover, and it's Easter. And sometimes I feel like it's all the same thing, but maybe I'm naive, but I know there's a higher being. So I'm so happy that Katie is here because she's the CEO of Her Faith, this great organization that I so believe in. But she also worked for the musician as a marketing um, executive for David Banner, and also worked for Koshi Mills in LA for dialogue for the Diaspora Dialogues. And basically, this company was basically trying to get Africans and African Americans come and visit each other, like have like a relationship. So, Katie, thank you so much for coming on. I'm proud of you, sis. I wanted to give you your flowers for such a long
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you for giving me the time. I'm grateful for you to be here. I so believe in her faith because I don't even know where would I be today without my faith. Without my faith, and it's amazing because when I watch my daughters and they pray, they pray at night. They say their little prayers. They're not really experiencing the world yet. So they ask for things that little kids would ask for. It just melts my heart because I'm I'm so happy that I'm the example of them watching me and seeing what's happening around me and seeing how my faith has gotten me through to the point that they sometimes remind me, "Hey mommy, just pray on it. It's going to be okay, mommy, just pray on it." So, thank you, Katie, for coming on the show.
Thank
So, how
you.
have you been?
I've been awesome.
Real,
um,
you've been
Thank you.
awesome. Oh
I've
my
been
God,
awesome.
it's
Life
been
is,
it's been like because you're East Coast, West Coast.
yeah, I'm centered I'm like everywhere, but I'm centered in Ohio. But I just came back from the West Coast and then I'll be heading to the East Coast next month. But it's just a lot of amazing things that are taking place. And so it's interesting enough for you to mention faith and the importance of faith and why faith is so important because I truly believe that, I mean, as you know, life has taken us in a whirlwind that we can't even imagine. And so without faith, I feel like that's just like the center of who we are, and being able to hold on to something that we don't see, but knowing that it's tangible, that's what's kept me going. So I'm just thankful. I can't even express my gratitude and thankfulness, but I am truly thankful.
Yes, Katie, because I know you've been through so much also, and so has so many other people in this world. I mean, there's so much
Hmm.
going on in this world, and I just pray for everyone to find peace within themselves and peace among each other. I pray for peace all the time. Life is funny. You have your good days, you have your bad days, and you're right. What keeps me centered is faith. Tell people your story. How has your faith pushed you and helped you through? Because I know you've been through a lot also.
Well, I'll give the short end version. Um, I've always wanted to work in the music industry. And as everyone knows that knows me knows, Biggie is like one of the reasons why I wanted to work in music. And so that was at like the age of 13. I wanted to be a rapper. But I I remember living in my cousin's house in Brooklyn with my kids, and I knew that I wanted to work at Atlantic. And Atlantic was a label that I said I wanted to work for Julie Greenwald. I was going to go and work for Julie Greenwald. And I remember getting up every morning like I was going to work. Like I would get up and I would take the F train and I would get off at 49th Street and walk to 1290 Avenue of the Americas. And I remember getting the email of all of the employees that worked there. And I sent my resume out to every single person. And there was this one lady, Crystal Anderson. I will never forget her because she emailed me. She was like, "How did you get my information?" And I said some name, this guy that I knew. And she said, "Well, the position you applied for has been filled." And I was like, "Okay." Well, she was like, "But I'll keep you in mind for something else." So, long story short, maybe 2 days later, she calls me and she's like, "Do you know anyone that's interested in interning?" And I was like, "I'll intern." And that like opened the door to everything that I've done now, from Atlantic to ESPN to David Banner, working with Carlene Ballin and BET and all these amazing things that I've been able to do and blessed to do. That was the start of my music career. But what really, in addition to my faith being tested was when I almost lost my children to the foster care system, leaving them with a family member. And all of that I just mentioned, and all the things that I've done, all the accolades that I had in that moment didn't matter, right? Like it was like I literally kneeled and I said, Lord, if you get me through this and get my children, this is all for you. And within, I didn't even have to go to court. I didn't have to go to see the judge. I didn't have to do anything. And it was in that moment I felt like women like me that work in entertainment, that are creatives, that are working mothers, they have a faith story, right? Like everyone has a faith story and everyone's faith is tested. And that's when I created Her Faith. And I wanted women to share their stories of faith. And I've talked to so many amazing women, and they've all said the same thing. It's been moments in their life where they had nothing else. They had no friends, no family, no money. They had nothing, but all they had was their faith to hold on to. And so that was the driving force to me creating Her Faith. In addition to all the things that I've endured and all the things that have set me back, I've never lost sight of the bigger picture. Like I knew that I was serving a purpose greater than myself. And in
Hmm.
knowing that, that's what I held on to, right? Like we sometimes don't have that purpose. Sometimes we feel like there is nothing. And I'm not meant to be a rapper. I'm not meant to be a singer, but there's some people that are just meant to be great trash people. There's probably some people that are meant to impart wisdom into people. There's some people that are just people that are intercessory prayers. There's some people that are
Yeah.
politicians. There's just certain people that are just called to do great things in everything that we do. And so I feel like Her Faith gives people that hope that even though I may admire these women, they too have a story and they have a faith
Yes.
story. So that's why I
Yes. I
started it.
mean, I think every woman, every human has a story of being, you know, down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
trying to find a way to rise from being down.
Exactly.
And sometimes you don't have nothing. Like, you have the material things. You might have the chair, some people don't even have that sometimes,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's that thing that's not tangible. It's that thing that we don't see.
Yep.
It's that prayer that we speak.
Yep.
It's something that is, you feel like, you know what? I don't have it now, but I'm praying, and I know I will one day. I just got to get myself and push myself out of this situation, and pray for help, pray for good
Mm-hmm.
Samaritans. That's why I always try to pay it forward, because I
Mm-hmm.
know the things that I have been through. And when
Yep.
I see someone in a place where I know I used to be or I could be, I try my best to try to help or just pay it forward. And sometimes it's not monetary, sometimes it's just giving advice,
Yep.
sometimes it's just giving a contact or a referral.
Yep.
I try my best to always pay it forward, because I believe in the human existence. I believe in, like, we're here for a reason, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone has a purpose. And
Yep.
I'm happy to know that you found your purpose in Her Faith.
Yes.
You know
Yep.
why I say that? Because you could have been mad because you felt that your direction was supposed to be rapping at 13 years old, right?
Right. But no, what changed that was at 13, I have a lovely mother, a West African mother, that made it clear to me on March 9th that Biggie died, and that kind of deterred my dreams of being a rapper. So yeah, that's I mean, it's
Well,
the purpose. The purpose still is fulfilled regardless of what it is. So yeah.
yeah, I think, I feel that your everyone's story is already written, my opinion, before
Hmm.
you were born.
Of
I
course.
feel that everything is already destined. That's why when you see a child, especially when I see children, and they're giving you seeds of possibilities of what they want to be or what they're good at, I try to encourage them to, or encourage the parents or their loved ones to water that seed, because you
Mm-hmm.
never know where that's going to lead. And, with kids, I feel that they come with little maps in them. I think we all do. That's
Yeah.
called your instincts. That's called your
Yeah.
gut.
Yeah.
You don't know where you're going. You're led by faith. You don't see it, but something inside of you tells you go left, go right,
Mm-hmm.
go straight. And what happens sometimes is sometimes we lose faith and we say, you know what, I know everything. I'm going to do what I want to do. And sometimes that causes us to delay to our purpose. But I think eventually you get back on your purpose and
Yeah.
get to where you have to go.
And that is ego, right? Like
Yes.
when you do things in your own strength, that's your ego. So I remember reading an article that Oprah said when she built her church, I mean her school in Africa. She said she was so excited about it that she knew the spirit led her to build the school in South Africa. She said, but all the work she put into it, like having this grandiose grand opening, having all these celebrities come and doing all this press. And then when all that stuff happened, remember when the girls were getting abused in the school? All of that. She said at that moment she knew it was her ego. And
Wow.
she knew that it wasn't God that was leading her, it was her ego. And I have those moments, like with her faith. Like I looked at it like, oh, I got to get this because I know this person, I can get this person, I can get that person. And sometimes, even though God gives us a vision and God calls us to do things, sometimes we get caught in our own way and our ego gets the best of us and we just don't allow the spirit to lead us, right? Like Oprah said, her ego is what made, Sidney Poitier come and all these people do this grand opening, but it was like, but what was that the benefit for? The benefit was not a Hollywood, it wasn't a theatrical thing. It was mainly for women in Africa in school. So how did those two measure up, right? And so sometimes we think like God gives us a vision and we do things so much bigger. We get in our own way and we use
Yeah.
our flesh, right? Like, and that is ego. But when you just allow God to direct you, you'll eventually get to that point, right? Like for me, I was like, oh, I can get this person, get that person. But if I did it small, it takes a small stone to build a mountain, right? And sometimes
Yes.
we want to take the mountain and then break it apart and then later we're left with stones, but in actuality you should have just started with the stones
The stone.
to create the mountain. Then you would have been a lot greater, right? That's why it says
Yeah, you would have had a more solid foundation,
foundation, right? So it's like
because
he that
you took your
you took
time.
yeah, you were humbled. And sometimes we don't want to be humble. Like we'll tell ourselves like, "Oh, I'm humble. I'm humble." But oftentimes, are we really humble though? Like, you know what I mean? Like when you really sit and look at the grand scheme of it, like it's very hard to be humble. But that's why some of the most prominent people outside of themselves, like I mean, we're not going to we you and I both know a lot of people who claim to be humble, but in essence, you see their actions that the humility is done for the camera, right? But behind closed doors, like God honors those that honor him behind closed doors. Like God doesn't honor the person that's like, oh, I'm fasting today, I'm so hungry. Oh, I went and gave this person. No, that's God doesn't honor that. God honors the person that goes behind closed door and praises him and does things quietly. That's humility. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And there's people that we admire today, and I know for a fact that are super successful and have done all these great things for people, but they don't showcase it. And because they don't showcase it, God honors that, right? Like, and you don't wait for the seed. When you water the seed, you don't come back and, oh, Danny, I did this, I did that. That's not
Yes.
watering the seed. That's
See.
just broadcasting it. But if you water the seed properly, then just go away and let it grow. And then you'll
Let it
see
grow.
God continues to bless you and bless you and bless you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. That a lot of times. people want to let the world know what they've done and
Mhm.
want the credit. And with my faith, let God be the glory. He gets all
Right.
the credit.
He
We're
does.
just instruments in what he wants to happen. And that's why I tell people, don't give up. Your world might look bleak right now. There's a lot of mental health going on in the world right now. A lot of people are just, especially with the shutdown, I feel, I was reading the study that a lot of teenage girls are experiencing deeper depression because of the
Mhm.
shutdown. you
Right.
know we're all we all at one time or another have experienced some sort of hardship, some sort of sadness, where we feel that, you know how I feel, like sometimes, like, where's God? Where is this person that's supposed to come and help me push through? But I always tell people, don't give up, because your timing is not the same as you know um God's timing. And that's my faith. And I know everyone has their different religions, and I respect everyone else's religions. But when it comes to my religion, I always tell the kids, when they're rushing and they want something to happen, and then they don't wait for you. You say, "Hey, give
Right.
me 5 minutes. I'm gonna get it done for you." And then they're like, "No," and they do it themselves, and then they mess up, and they look at you, and I'm like, "I told you to wait for me."
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel that that's how God looks at us. He says, wait 5 minutes. And we are just so much want to get it done, or
Yep.
want to do it our way, that when it messes up, we're looking up like, maybe I should have waited 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And because I try to explain to my children, you see this clock that you're learning in school, that's not the same thing as God's clock. And that's what I realized. I look
That's
at the
true.
calendar, I look at the clock, and I'm going, you know what? That's human clock. That's the clock that's on this earth. That's the
Yep.
time here, right? But that's not the timing of. I don't know God's clock. I don't
Right.
even know if he has a clock. I don't even know if he
No,
has a
it says,
calendar.
yeah, because they say 1,000 years is but a day to God. 1,000 years. So imagine,
So yeah, so imagine I'm sitting here. I'm like, wow, 1,000 years. I can't wait
it's a
that.
day.
I can't wait that long. You know what I
I know.
mean? But then, I realized, like, if you just stay steady and you just go with your faith and you pray and you follow where you're supposed to go, and don't let your ego take over, I think that eventually, like you said, stone by stone by stone, you get to where you need to be.
It's a
It's,
mountain. Yeah.
it's the little things that matter. You know how they used to, it's the little things that matter. And I tell people all the time, especially kids, how you just said, um, you interned, for free. Sometimes life brings you what you want, but it's not the way you saw it in your
Mhm.
vision. But that's what it's supposed to be. You know how we look at things sometimes, and, well, that's not what I asked for. That's not what I prayed for. You
Right.
know, but you don't know why this is happening now. So you have to have the faith that this is part of the master plan, because the way I imagine and the way I see things in my little world doesn't mean that that's the way the bigger spectrum of the world sees it, or it's going to happen the way that I exactly imagined it. Do you
Right.
know? So just the fact that you called that lady and you emailed her and she said, "Oh, I don't have a job for you," but look how she called you and offered you a job, and even though it wasn't paying, this is how God works. It's not paying, right?
It wasn't paying.
But you ended up taking it, and it opened up so many more opportunities that's worth more than the monetary money that you were going to get if you took another job, or if you said no. You could have been like, "Oh, I'm not working for free. Thank
That's
you."
true.
You
That's
know,
true.
so what are you doing with Her Faith now? I know we spoke behind the scenes. You want to work on a podcast.
Yeah. So that's the goal, is to do I before I had did a digital. It was a digital platform where I interviewed women and placed it and had, related content. But I think now, with the way of everything going, the way things are going, I'm transitioning to doing a podcast. So, um, and then I would like to do annual retreats. Um, and then whether it's dinners or retreats. So as of right now, it's just working on building up the brand and doing the podcast.
Well, Katie, I'm so happy you came on. I'm proud of you, sis. I want to give you your flowers. You've done so much amazing work in the entertainment industry. I mean, everyone, almost everyone, I'll say, because I don't want to say everyone. Everyone's like, I don't know Katie, but you are known in the industry. I mean, you are the marketing guru. I'm always calling you up, trying to get advice from me. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I'm proud of you, sis. I wanted to talk
Oh,
about
thank
faith
you.
today because we are in the season of, Ramadan season, Passover and Easter's coming in the next couple of weeks. And with so much craziness going on in the world, I want to let people know that if you feel hopeless sometimes, go and grab to your faith or what you believe in to get you through. So thank you everyone for coming on. I'm proud of you, sis. Host
I,
Danny Benson. Thank you, Miss Sellu, for coming on. And I will
yes,
see everybody next week.
I wish
Have
I
a
would have
great
known.
Wednesday.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Katie, for coming on the show. Thank
Girl,
you.